Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today we're going to be covering some rather interesting AoE changes. These actually dropped Friday night, but everyone was all consumed up with the awesome Phase 8 news and the post that Agron made on that video. And these kind of got lost, and they're super minute, but they definitely affect warriors and rogues. So we're going to switch it over here to the blue post, and we got quite a lot to talk about. So here is the blue post, pretty small, but definitely made a lot of people very upset. Rogue Blade Fury no longer receives double percent increases. This affects Seal of the Dawn and Rogue set bonuses. Now percent increases from hostile mind controls like Chains of Kel'Thuzad and Prophet Scarab's mind control no longer cause massive amounts of damage from Blade Fury. Now this definitely is a major problem when people are getting MC'd because of how strong we are. We are absolutely blasting people, and it's obnoxious to lose your world buffs that way, but it is kind of entertaining and funny when it happens. I enjoy it from an entertainment perspective, but yeah, it sucks when you're losing those things. I wish there was a way to make it to where it was only like effective while MC'd, so they're just not completely nerfed, because rogues and warriors aren't like at the top, especially warriors. You know, give warriors a little bone here. And then, so the next change is Warriors Sweeping Strikes no longer receives double percent increases while inside of Naxxramas. So, due to Warriors having multiple percent increases in their kit through Enrage, we did not want to impact their PvP performance with this bug fix. So this only applies to Warriors while inside Naxxramas. This means Seal of the Dawn and Warrior set bonus are no longer doubled, and the percent increases from hostile mind controls inside of Naxxramas like Chains of Kel'Thuzad no longer cause massive amounts of damage from Sweeping Strikes. So once again, addressing the MC power level, but I just wish there was another way to do this without just nerfing their core AoE abilities, because in Classic, that's pretty much the only things they have. They like get press cleave. Rogues get quite a bit in SOD, but Warriors really haven't gotten much. So nerfing their only thing is kind of sad. And so let's go to the people's voice here. There's something else I want to show you towards the end, but since we're talking about these, so this dude says, low 1 warrior log on 4 horsemen where he did 75k max and sweeping strikes is nerfed in less than 24 hours. Bill pulled 7k less DPS than an Aflock, putting up Curse of Agony on 4 targets. Could you all have let warriors have fun with a nice build that gives up a 31 point talent for cleave potential for more than 18 hours? We're still going to be absolutely trash everywhere else. Can't have warriors doing actual DPS. These devs are a hoot. It was 1 log, same thing that we just said. He said, thank God they fixed that. Then, care to give us all our dodge back and not crap on us as a tank class. Authority that wastes nearly guts our ability to tank when trying to push empowered wings. Having a higher health pool doesn't really help when you get rushed for a ton, which is really ironic since that crushing chance should actually go down with our mitigation going down, but it feels like it's going up. This nerf makes absolutely 0 sense, and why now of all times? So obviously people upset with nerfs, typical. I would hate to lose that as well. I'm not sure how sweeping strikes really affects rogue tanking. I think this dude is just mad about rogue tanks in general, but I want to pull it up here to another post. So I've actually been called out in the forums here, and this is good because this is what we need to see. So when we were reading these patch notes here the other day, this guy just said that's an insane nerf to rogue tanks. I really wasn't talking about him specifically. I was talking about these 2 comments here where they're just complaining. But he decided to come at me, in a civil way, of course. He said, okay, Kaghoe told me to be more specific. So this is the type of stuff we're talking about here. If you're going to complain on the forums because you want change, this is what we need to see. This is very good. He says, so the rogue tank nerf is insane because our biggest strength was being a great single target boss tank, specifically against physical damage fights. Shamans and paladins seem better at AoE threat. Warlocks seem to excel at magic damage boss fights. Rogue tanks seem to be great physical damage fights. I was the one who advocated for Ming Gauche for months, and it is finally a good rune now. And with the rest of our set bonuses runes, we felt good. We felt like a viable tank, a viable/special tank. but now our physical mitigation is back to being nothing special. So my / our disappointment with this nerf is asking what makes us special now. The biggest thing we had going for rogue tanks is now gone. Our avoidance / mitigation is nothing special compared to other tanks. And on top of that, we have the lowest armor values of any tank. Kaghoe doesn't play rogue tank, and he himself said this nerf probably kills rogues as a tank spec. No, it doesn't kill the spec, but we are no longer special. We do not excel at anything anymore, and we have 0 niche areas as a tank and SOD. Huge disappointment with this nerf. So that is the type of feedback I love to hear, because the devs are going to read this and going to be like, okay, let's look at these things. These are things that bother me as a rogue player, and they should. Obviously, as this guy mentioned, I do not play rogue, so I don't have any real input that I can give for this. However, I can read it. I can use my platform to maybe bring attention to these things and hopefully get it fixed. As far as his assessment, I would argue that Druid Tank is probably better at the single target physical fights. No one has ever been able to rip off of me, and we have some pretty good pumpers in our group. Just the Berserk, Catnip, and spamming Mangle is insane physical target threat, as well as mitigation and essentially not being able to get healed. But I'll stop talking about how awesome Druid is. I'm a little biased because that's what I mean. But my goal and what I want to see in SOD is every tank be viable. Like, no tank should just be terrible. And I feel like rogue tank, the dev team has really struggled with specifically, because they haven't been able to find that point where it is like playable and good and decent without it being overpowered. Every single time it becomes good, they essentially just become a tank DPS class, similar to that, like the Fury Prot Warrior we see in Anniversary. And I'd imagine they would change that in a heartbeat if their philosophy wasn't no changes with Classic. Like, I don't think they want their tanks being top DPS dealers. And I don't think a tank should be, honestly. A tank should hold threat. A tank should take damage. But I don't think a tank should ever be your top DPS dealer. That gets very retail-y very quickly. It reminds me of like Mythic Plus keys, where your tank's doing as much DPS as some DPS players in AoE fights and things like that. And it's just really weird. And that's why I think Rogue Tank, like, it is just such a weird phenomenon, and where it sits and where it's at and what people are doing with it, that makes it so very strange. And like, they've gone back and forth so many times where it is either really good and it just becomes a straight DPS and tanking class, or it is just terrible and it's hardly ever played and can't be used. And I wish they could just find that sweet spot and balance where it could be used, it could be played, because I do think a lot of people enjoy it. And while it's not for me personally, a lot of people are playing it and seem to have a lot of fun with it. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on it, and I hope that the devs read these messages and hopefully can add some change, and you guys can see what legitimate feedback looks like, instead of just saying, this sucks, I hate it. But anyway, I truly hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Hey you. Yes you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.